Across the modern enterprise, the middle management layer is fracturing. The architecture holding corporations together is buckling under pressure it was never designed to withstand. The statistics reveal a stark disconnect in business optimization. 68% of HR leaders report their managers are entirely overwhelmed by their operational load, yet only 14% of those same organizations have taken any structural steps to alleviate the burden. The prevailing corporate response is to treat this as a human capital issue. Executives dismiss these struggling layers as the frozen middle, a cohort of individuals failing to adapt to a faster business climate. Managerial burnout is an architectural engineering failure. We are attempting to run fluid post-industrial workflows on rigid legacy organizational hardware. This diagram represents the industrial age organization, a centralized routing architecture optimized for static workflows. The manager acted as a strict information gateway. Directives flowed vertically, receiving instructions from the top, routing them down, and collecting output data to route back up. That design requires total centralization. When you apply that exact same vertical bottleneck to decentralized environments, the system predictably grinds to a halt. Between 1990 and 2020, 4 sequential pressure tests systematically dismantled the manager's ability to function. First, 1990's process reengineering flattened hierarchies, vastly expanding a manager's span of control. Then, 2010's digitization let executives broadcast directly to the workforce, bypassing the middle layer. Next, agile workflows detached base layer employees into horizontal, cross-functional pods. Finally, remote work eliminated physical oversight. These 4 vectors hit simultaneously, stripping managers of power, resource control, and visibility. The node collapsed under a weight it was never designed to carry. This 3D coordinate plane maps repairs to the broken topology. On the power axis, managers must shift to facilitating team success. On the skills axis, function changes to continuous performance coaching. On the structure axis, the environment becomes a dynamic, fluid network. These geometric shifts are the non-negotiable prerequisites for organizations attempting to update their enterprise operating system. To survive this transition, massive global enterprises are patching broken topologies rather than replacing hardware entirely. Standard Chartered approached this by deploying an AI-based coaching platform and formal accreditation process to 14,000 management nodes worldwide. IBM took a more aggressive algorithmic route. To free up bandwidth, they automated administrative routing like expense approvals, pulling the busy work out of the node. IBM's AI-driven advisor scrapes external market data, competitor postings, and salary metrics, feeding it to the manager. IBM enforces this through a manager success index. Underperforming nodes have their connections terminated and are moved out of management. These AI patches improve efficiency, but are ultimately retrofits. They optimize existing hardware without changing the underlying hierarchy's shape. If a central routing node within a system is permanently overloaded by competing inputs, the hardware itself must be split. The Australian telecommunications firm Telstra computed exactly this. They flattened their corporate hierarchy to just 3 layers and physically bifurcated the traditional management role. In this new network topology, the overloaded middle manager is replaced by 2 distinct parallel nodes. The leader of people routes talent, owning personnel budgets and forecasting skill gaps. Meanwhile, the leader of work routes output, managing commercial imperatives and agile workflow budgets. Neither role is subordinate to the other. They sit on equal footing. By structurally isolating talent dynamics from workflow dynamics, the organization eliminates the inherent conflict that destroyed the legacy manager. This bifurcated architecture proves that you can scale agile methodologies across a massive enterprise without crushing the management layer in the process. Because the roles are divided, they coordinate seamlessly. The people node anticipates skill gaps, while the work node forecasts demands. Contrast this resilient dual-node system with the friction and bottlenecking of the industrial model. The data flows freely, and the stress is distributed evenly. Treating systemic burnout as a personal failing is a strategic error. When managers are underskilled and overwhelmed, productivity plummets, turnover spikes, and brand reputation suffers. We must completely stop asking our individual managers to perform the impossible task of bridging 2 entirely different eras. Organizations must re-engineer their architecture to support the realities of